The only co-star Alda truly hated. MASH continues to be regarded as one of the most prosperous television series in history. The Korean War-themed series brought about a significant transformation in the medium by skillfully blending comedic and dramatic elements, captivating millions of viewers with each episode. The record for the largest audience to ever view a scripted program on American television remains with its season finale. To this day, both the characters and the actors who portrayed them remain beloved. Despite the tremendous success that MASH achieved, there are likely some behind-the-scenes secrets that not even the most devoted and ardent admirers are privy to, up until now. On numerous occasions, actors were unaware of which characters would perish, which actors actually served in the army. Additionally, why did Loretta Swit leave the show? Every single MASH secret is exposed in this video. The show is based on a book. MASH is based on the 1968 book MASH, a novel about 3 army doctors by Richard Hooker, the pen name used for a former military surgeon named Dr. H. Richard Hornberger and writer W.C. Hines. The cast switched parts. McLean Stevenson, who ended up playing Henry Blake, initially wanted the role of Hawkeye. There were real soldiers on set. Jamie Farr and Alda both had real military experience before the series. Alda joined the Army Reserve after graduating from Fordham University in New York. Farr joined the Army for 2 years and served in Japan and Korea after hostilities had ended. Alda and Mike Farrell's competitive nature. In Alda's book, Never Have Your Dog Stuffed and Other Things I've Learned, he reminisced about the competitive spirit between Mike Farrell and himself. Alda recalled, "We had a physical rivalry as well, competing to see who could learn to stand on his hands first. He had studied judo in the army, and as a pastime, every time I was called to set, he'd walk behind me and see if he could trip me and make me fall." For Farrell, the most confrontation happened between the two over a scene that found BJ acting severely out of character. One comedian turned down a role. Comedian Robert Klein was offered the part of Trapper John but turned down the part. Klein would still go on to a successful comedy career with nearly 100 credits to his acting resume. Wayne Rogers never signed. Wayne Rogers, who played Trapper John McIntyre, was able to leave the series at his discretion because he never actually signed his contract. Klinger wasn't going to be straight. The character of Klinger, who initially was only going to appear once, was originally going to be gay. The character would become one of the best and most beloved of the entire show. The laughter grew quieter. When the series began, the producers wanted to go without a laugh track to emphasize the seriousness of the subject matter. CBS refused, though allowed them to go without one for the operating room scenes. As the series wore on, the canned laughter was mixed lower and lower. The pilot was written fast. The pilot episode of MASH was first shown on September 17, 1972. The pilot was written by Larry Gelbart and directed by Gene Reynolds, with Reynolds winning a Directors Guild of America award for it. The pilot was also nominated for 2 Emmys for directing and writing. The episode itself took Larry Gelbart 3 days to write, an incredible feat when you consider how many awards it won. The show kept secrets from its cast. Only Alda knew before filming that the Henry Blake character was being killed off. There was serious star power. Stars, including Ron Howard, Leslie Nielsen, and Patrick Swayze, appeared on the series before becoming famous. The show was way longer than the actual war. The Korean War lasted just about 3 years, but the series lasted 11 years, first airing on September 17, 1972, and ending on February 28, 1983. In all, there were 256 episodes. Alda did it all. In addition to a starring role, Alda directed 31 episodes and co-wrote 13. Talk about multitasking. Radar's bear was sold. Radar's trademark stuffed bear was thought lost for 30 years before being found and subsequently auctioned off. The winning bidder? Radar himself, actor Gary Berghoff. The time capsule was found. During a final season episode, the characters buried a time capsule. Months after production wrapped, a construction crew found the capsule buried where the set stood. Loretta Swit appeared in all but 11 episodes. Actress Loretta Swit played the sassy blonde nurse, Major Margaret Hot Lips Houlihan, and was just one of 4 cast members to stay for all 11 seasons. In that amazing run, she appeared in all but 11 episodes of the 256 total. Swit's personal favorites were Hot Lips and Empty Arms, Margaret's Engagement, and The Nurses. Alda's accomplishments. Alan Alda won Emmys for writing, directing, and acting for his work on the series, the first person to win all 3 for one show. The names are significant. The names chosen for even the smallest of characters were often significant. For example, one 1977 installment features characters named for that year's California Angels baseball team. The ex-girlfriend. Furthering the name connection, one character was named after a writer's ex-girlfriend. We imagine that character maybe wasn't the best one. The cast complained a lot. As the series wore on, the actors began to complain more vocally about their storylines. In retaliation, the creative team had them act out winter scenes in heavy clothing outdoors in 90-degree weather. Walter TV spinoff. There was a litany of MASH spin-offs, including this one that saw Walter, Radar O'Reilly, return home after the war, lose his family, and become a cop. It only aired once. Klinger got lucky. Klinger was only supposed to appear once. However, he was so popular with viewers that he soon became a regular character. Erin, real-life daughter. Actor Mike Farrell had his character's daughter name changed to Erin as a tribute to his real-life daughter of the same name. Potter's real wife's photo. The photo of Potter's wife, Mildred, seen on his desk throughout the series, is a picture of Potter actor Harry Morgan's real wife. The finale was not final. The legendary final episode was not the last installment to be filmed. The preceding episode, As Time Goes By, was filmed last. Staying close even after the show ended. Loretta Swit maintained a close relationship with many of her castmates after the show ended, especially Harry Morgan, Colonel Sherman T. Potter. The two reportedly became neighbors after the series ended, until Morgan died in 2011. Swit is still close to Alan Alda and his family. Swit was also using her huge stardom to her advantage, taking roles in other shows at the time, including The Love Boat and Cagney and Lacey, for which she almost left MASH. However, MASH producers refused to let Swit out of her contract to play Christine Cagney, and she was forced to drop the new role. The series finale is legendary. The finale still holds the record for the most watched non-sports program in American history, with over 77% of the population tuning in. The hat. In the series' opening credits, Alan Alda wears the style of hat that Donald Sutherland sported in the movie version, which had been released in 1970. The hat never appeared in any other capacity on the show. Laughter off, please. When the series aired in the UK, the controversial laugh track was removed completely. Klinger's wedding dress. Klinger's wedding dress was worn 3 times. By Klinger when he married Laverne Esposito, by Margaret Houlihan when she married Lieutenant Colonel Donald Penobscot, and by Soon Lee when she married Klinger. Hawkeye hated guns. Hawkeye never carried a gun on the show, and the one time he was forced to use one, he simply fired it into the air. Goodbye, farewell, and amen. The iconic final episode is the only one in the series' entire run to display its title on screen. Captain Tuttle. In the closing credits of the episode Tuttle, Captain Tuttle is credited as having been played by himself. This is a nod to the fact that within the episode there is no Captain Tuttle, and the character is just a figment of Hawkeye's imagination. Power lines. A few exterior shots have visible power lines in the background. Producers were aware they were there, but didn't have the money to reshoot the scenes. Purple hearts. Several characters in the series received multiple Purple Hearts. This is an error, as the military only gives Purple Hearts for soldiers' first injury in battle. Any subsequent injuries lead to the oak leaf clusters. Time difference. The show goofed when discussing the time difference between New York and Korea. Several times, Radar refers to it as 18 hours when it's only been 13 and 14 depending on the time of the year. The Real Baker. Throughout the series, there were numerous background nurses portrayed by a variety of actresses. However, everyone was referred to as Nurse Baker. Angels on the Battlefield. A 1978 episode featured a group of patients who were named after the 1978 National League champion LA Dodgers. Korean actors, or lack thereof. Since the talent pool of Korean actors in Hollywood was relatively small while the series was in production, producers would often cast performers of other Asian ethnicities in Korean roles. The Real Korean. There was one real Korean performer on the series, Sun Tak-oh, who played a variety of roles over the show's run. Oh, pictured in the center in a still from Charlie's Angels, was a prominent actor from the mid-1960s to 2006 when he retired. Oh passed away in 2018 at the age of 85. Characters were based on real-life people. Many of the characters, both regular and guest appearances, had names or personal details taken from the writers' and actors' own lives and interests. For example, Klinger hails from the same hometown as his actor Jamie Farr. There were spin-offs. The series had 3 spin-offs. The aforementioned Walter, whose pilot aired only once, as well as the longer-lasting Trapper John M.D., and Aftermash. Aftermash starred Colonel Potter, Father Mulcahy, and Klinger working at a veterans hospital after the war. The spin-off lasted 2 seasons. It came down to a vote. By the 9th season, writers were running out of ideas, and they felt that the show would soon be out of steam. Alan Alda wanted season 10 to be his last, but CBS convinced him to stay on for one more season, as well as the final episode. The rest of the cast held a vote to decide if the series should end, despite its massive popularity. When a majority voted yes, the show ended. Those who voted to continue starred in the spin-off Aftermash. Eileen Detchen. Often visible throughout the series was a photo of Potter's wife, Mildred, on his desk. The photo was actually of Harry Morgan's then-wife, actress Eileen Detchen. Teddy Bear Bucks. The stuffed teddy bear, owned by the character Radar, has become one of the best-known props from the show's run, once being housed in the Smithsonian and more recently being sold at auction for $11,800. Not bad for something that was originally found on the Fox Ranch set of the series and became part of the show as a bit of an afterthought. Alan Alda was a good friend. Before the 5th season, Father Mulcahy actor William Christopher contracted a devastating case of hepatitis. His condition was so bad that he missed several episodes, leading producers to consider writing Father Mulcahy out. However, star Alan Alda pushed them to keep Christopher on the series because Christopher needed a steady paycheck to raise his autistic son. Alda even wrote an episode that specifically incorporated Christopher's real illness into Mulcahy. Tony Pecos. Throughout the series, Klinger mentions a restaurant in his hometown Toledo, Ohio, specializing in Hungarian hot dogs called Tony Pecos. While many viewers likely assumed this was a fictional detail, there is a real Ton Peco restaurant in Toledo's east side that still specializes in the dish to this day. Long-term replacement. Throughout the series, characters Trapper, Henry, and Frank all departed the series, being replaced by BJ, Colonel Potter, and Charles. Of note, all of these replacements lasted longer than the characters they replaced. Real-life inspiration. Whenever Mike Farrell's BJ would speak on the phone to his family in the series, Farrell's daughter Erin, or wife Judy, would be on the other end of the line to add realism to his performance. Real dog tags. According to actor Jamie Farr, the dog tags he wore as Klinger were his actual tags from his military service, including his name, serial number, and religion.